The Chinese government has withdrawn 6 diplomatic staff from its consulate-general in Manchester, and that follows some of the most undiplomatic scenes ever witnessed in Britain. That was on October the 16th, just about a couple of months back. A group of demonstrators, about 40 of them, had gathered outside the offices of the consulate-general in Manchester to demand rights for people from Hong Kong and to protest the policies of the Chinese government. Some of them carried placards and a few even carried cartoons showing President Xi in clearly an unflattering light. Staff within the Consulate-General was watching this, and rather than being content to watch this or not watch this, they stepped out and attacked the protesters. One of the protesters was dragged inside the premises and beaten up. There was a police presence there, and that was intended to protect the consulate from the demonstrators. What they had to do was quite the opposite. The police intervened and they entered the premises to rescue this protester who was beaten up inside. Following that, we've had a long standoff between the Chinese and the British governments. The British government wanted China to waive diplomatic immunity for its staff and for them to face prosecution because the police had gathered very clear and firm evidence about the staff. There was a lot of photographs and video material available. This then led to continuing exchanges, and that has resulted in a decision now by the Chinese government to pull this staff out of Manchester. Foreign Secretary James Cleverly told Parliament that he was disappointed that these people had not been kept long enough to face prosecution, but he also expressed some relief that this staff would no longer be present at their post in Manchester in Britain, serving their country and dealing with British authorities after all that they had done.
Part of that investigation requested that 6 Chinese officials waive diplomatic immunity so they could be questioned. We informed the Chinese embassy of that, and we set a deadline which expired today, making it clear that we expected them to take action. In response to our request, the Chinese government have now removed from the UK those officials, including the consul-general himself. This demonstrates that our adherence to the rule of law, the seriousness with which we take these incidents has had an effect, and we will continue on the world stage and domestically to abide by the rule of law, and we expect others to do likewise. In response to this incident, and it is right that the Chinese government have now removed these officials from the UK.
This decision clearly has been taken by China under a good deal of diplomatic pressure, and clearly has not done the Chinese image any good, despite the intentions of these staff members and these diplomats to do what they thought was the loyal thing for China.